Marvin, Monday edition, Outkick the coverage, live from the beach. Encouraging all of you to get out, live your life, stay safe. But I'm down in Florida for the foreseeable future. Good news, lots to hit today on the program. Coronavirus update. This is outstanding news that hasn't gotten a lot of attention. We hit new lows in death since March in Italy, France, Germany, Spain, England, and the United States. New low today in New York, and we are headed for another big new low in total deaths when the numbers come out for Monday. Now, for the Corona bros out there, sometimes there is a peak on Tuesday, but we are headed for good news here. Things are getting better, not worse, relating to the coronavirus. All right, there's several different things also, by the way, that are worth paying attention to out here. We've got The Last Dance that aired last night, episodes 5 and 6. It was phenomenal. I thought there were 2, 3, 4 really interesting parts of The Last Dance in general. First of all, how about Michael Jordan finally acknowledging that he said Republicans buy sneakers too? I'd encourage all of you to go buy that book titled, that was written by a nice guy named me, that came out recently, and it's also further solidifying my argument that athletes who try to appeal to everyone have the most long-term impact as opposed to those that only try to appeal to a niche of the audience. Michael Jordan's not an expert in politics. Why should he be used by other people to advance their political causes? He said he was focused on being great at basketball as opposed to paying attention to every single political issue that was out there. That is the right decision. It's why he was so dominant. It's why he remains a legend today. Michael Jordan got it right. Not LeBron James, not all of the, quote, uber woke athletes of today's generation who want to alienate more than they want to bring in a big tent. Michael Jordan, with his excellence in basketball, united everybody, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. I think that his method of dealing with athletic fame is the right one, and the market also reflects that it was right. This was an incredible story. He had to make a choice. Wasn't even going to go visit Nike unless his mom had made him go. So it's Mother's Day coming up this weekend. Listen to your moms. Michael Jordan wanted to go to Converse. He really wanted to go to Adidas. Instead, he said that he signed with Nike for $250,000. Nike said they were hoping to do $3 million in sales within 4 years. They did $100 million plus. I believe it was $126 million in sales in year one. Let me check my notes to make sure that I got it. I got it right. $126 million in Air Jordan sales in year one. That's a phenomenal story. What about Perm Guy? What about Perm Guy, who was playing the quarters game against Michael Jordan and did the Jordan shrug like he had just hit a bunch of threes? One of the great all-time moves by Perm Guy, who unfortunately died back in January. The Bulls security guard. We got to put that video mix, or at least that picture in, so you guys can remember that exactly. I also thought that the story of the 1992 Dream Team scrimmage, where they said that Jordan was the alpha of the alphas. The video footage that they showed of that event, Michael Jordan kept saying, it's the 90s, this is the 90s, as opposed to the 80s when Magic Johnson and Charles Barkley, he felt like, were dominating. And he was asked by Ahmad Rashad, Michael, game's on the line, who would take the last shot? Michael Jordan responded, that's a dumb question, me. He also said about Isaiah Thomas, this is one of the great all-time lines, no matter how much I hate him, I respect his game. Let's also talk about what I think is the most iconic advertisement of all time, the Be Like Mike Gatorade commercial that came out in 1991. I don't believe there's ever been a commercial that has ever had the power that this one did. It was absolutely fantastic. Michael Jordan continuing to be a legend and an icon. Also, he talked about his gambling issues, and I think there's a lot of people out there who enjoy gambling on sports. Jordan said, I don't have a gambling problem, I have a competition problem. This guy wanted to compete everywhere, and he won everywhere. And as Charles Barkley said, sports are like a gunfight. We lost to the fastest gun. Final thought on The Last Dance. Michael Jordan said, if I had to do it all over again, I'd never want to be considered a role model. It's like a game that's stacked against me. There's no way I can win. I know I said final thought, but how about the Range Rover at the end of episode 6? His personalized plate, Michael Jordan's. to Trey. To Trey was the personalized plate. A couple of other things. Players were drinking Miller Lite. They said they couldn't wait to get out to be able to drink Miller Lite. The perm I talked about earlier, but Michael Jordan and Jerry Seinfeld were together. That in and of itself was pretty phenomenal, the Michael Jordan and Jerry Seinfeld interaction. I don't know that anything symbolizes the 90s more. And we began with the 1998 All-Star game, which was in Madison Square Garden, which was Kobe Bryant against Michael Jordan. As Michael Jordan called him, he said that little Laker boy, talking about how often he was going to shoot at the age of 19 years old. Kobe Bryant was asked who would win a one-on-one game, and he said basically the same thing that Isaac Newton said. When Isaac Newton said, if I've seen far, it's because I've stood upon the shoulders of giants. Kobe Bryant said, what you get from me is from him. And all of this ran together. Two of the best hours of sports documentary television we have ever seen, ever. I want to give props to the NFL. They announced that their schedule is coming out. The new NFL schedule is going to be out this week. They're not going to do international games, but the NFL has done a phenomenal job of first keeping their free agency going in March, then getting the draft going in April. Both of those have absolutely dominated from a media perspective and a fan perspective. So far, the NFL has gotten it 100% right. Speaking of getting it right, the SEC is going to play college football this fall. I remain convinced that unless something even crazier or zanier or wilder than what's gone on so far happens, the SEC is going to play this fall. Arkansas became the first team to announce they're going to return for football in July and be ready to go in September for week 1 of the season. Every other SEC school will rapidly fall in line as well. Speaking of college football, how about the University of Tennessee? Jeremy Pruitt's squad surging all the way up to number 3 overall in the recruiting class rankings. Ohio State and Ryan Day are dominating. They're number 1 overall. Second spot, Daddy Mac Brown in second place, been doing an incredible job at UNC. But in the third spot, Jeremy Pruitt. Tennessee has never been this hot recruiting ever. In the space of a week, 3 4-stars, 2 5-stars, and a bunch more to come. Jeremy Pruitt getting white hot on the recruiting class rankings and on the recruiting scene in general. Look out. Is it finally time for the Tennessee Vols to be back, baby? We'll have to wait and see. Condolences, Don Shula, age of 90 years old, legendary Miami Dolphin coach, the most winning coach of all time in the NFL, 347 career wins. Condolences to he and his family. Don Shula announced to have died today. Bill Belichick, by the way, sitting at 304 all time, has a decent shot if Belichick continues to coach. We'll see how many years it might take now that Tom Brady has left, but Bill Belichick has a chance to become the winningest coach of all time in the NFL and pass Don Shula. But in the meantime, what Don Shula accomplished is legendary beyond measure. By the way, we happened to sit down with the boys and watch Ace Ventura over the weekend. How about Don Shula is included in Ace Ventura? I totally forgot about it. He's putting away some mail, and Ace Ventura is inside there grabbing it to look at his ring, if you remember that storyline in general. The U.S. women have been arguing that they deserved equal pay for a long time. They filed a lawsuit. They've got everybody on social media, everybody in the media carrying water for them, except for people like me who looked at the data and said, wait a minute. They rejected the offer that was given to the U.S. men and negotiated their own CBA. And the federal court judge agrees with me, looking at all the evidence and all the facts. He has decided under the numbers, summary judgment granted to the U.S. Soccer Federation. The U.S. women are not being discriminated against. All the blue check marks are going to be up in angst, up in anger over this. But the data always reflected what I told you. Look at the data, not the stories. The U.S. women are actually being paid more than the U.S. men, and they rejected the same offer that the men did. You can't reject the offer under CBA and then go back and claim that you wish you had taken that offer instead. If the women are unhappy, they did a poor job negotiating, they need to go back in and redo their CBA the next opportunity they have to do so. Finally, the numbers are down for the coronavirus, but I can't lie. There's a new danger on the horizon. It's murder hornets out of Asia. Asia has been driving us crazy of late. The murder hornets show up and kill all the honeybees. The murder hornets are rolling into the United States. They have arrived in Washington. The honeybee population is in trouble. The downside of this is based on the logic from the Twitter blue check marks. Since 50 people a year are dying in Asia, I hate to tell everybody, but this means you can no longer go outside for the rest of your life, because every life that we can save is a life worth saving. We got to do whatever we can to make sure that no one dies from the murder hornets. So we're all going to have to stay inside for the rest of our lives to ensure that the murder hornet doesn't kill anybody at all. That's satire, but people are so dumb on social media. They think that satire is a part of a car. I appreciate all of you. Thanks to Katie, who is sitting here right now filming me. We got a great shows of coming so far. The beach looks fantastic, Katie, if you want to zoom out. We're in Panama City Beach. Everything pretty fantastic here. People are keeping their distance, but they're living their lives. Live your life as well. The water is beautiful.
They want to know where's your beer?
No beer right now because I've had a busy day. I'm doing the radio show from a studio down here. I'll have some drinks later, but it's still early in the day. I got kids to make sure they don't drown at the beach until now and then. Love all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I hope all of you are having a good start to your week. We're kicking the coronavirus's ass. The numbers reflect it. Let's get sports back. Kisses. See y'all.